If you want to build a new PC to play at 1440p resolution, high to ultra settings in the most high demanding games out there, and you want smooth frame rates even with ray tracing enabled, then you came to the right place. Today I'll show you a powerful max FPS per dollar gaming PC for around 1400 USD that will be ideal for 1440p ultra settings or 4K high to ultra as well. And on top of that, it will be perfect for esports games in case you want to play games like Valorant, Fortnite or CS2 at 360 plus FPS on average and compete in these type of games. Now, you will find the link to this exact same system down below in the video description with the latest prices and availability in your region. My name is Valentino. That being said, let's start. We'll start by talking about the CPU, one of the main components inside of a gaming PC. Here I went with the Ryzen 5 7600X. This CPU is one of the cheapest and best price to performance CPUs in the entire market, and it will allow you to play at very high frame rates, and most importantly, it will not bottleneck your graphics card, so you will not be suffering from stutters or any type of FPS drops. Now with this CPU, as I said before, you will be able to play esports shooters like Valorant, Fortnite, CS2 or just any esports game at 360 plus FPS on average competitive settings, possibly even higher performance if you play at 1080p resolution. So feel free to go with a 360 or 480Hz monitor if you want to. Now alongside this CPU, you get a very powerful GPU in the NVIDIA RTX 5070 Ti. This graphics card is one of the fastest graphics cards in the entire market, especially for 1440p resolution ultra settings, and you will be able to play any type of game at 1440p, whether it's games like Cyberpunk 2077, The Last of Us Part 1, Red Dead Redemption 2, you name it, it doesn't matter. At 1440p, you will be able to run these games on ultra settings smoothly, even if you turn on ray tracing. Now, with this graphics card, you can also play games at 4K resolution, 80 plus FPS on average, and I'm talking about high demanding titles. So if you want to play at 4K and you play with DLSS quality enabled, you can expect higher frame rates and maintain the image quality. So overall, the 5070 Ti is top tier when it comes to gaming performance. However, if you want a cheaper graphics card, because maybe you want to stay under $1,400 for the entire build, I will be talking about another GPU that's cheaper and will give you very similar performance in just a second. Now, for the rest of the components, you get an aftermarket CPU cooler that's going to be perfect to cool down our Ryzen 5 processor. And talking about cooling, you get plenty of airflow because I chose the Montech Air 100 ARGB case. This case is amazing. It comes with pre-installed RGB fans. You will not have to worry about your CPU or GPU temps or just buying any extra fans because they are already pre-installed, as I said before. Inside of this PC, you also get Wi-Fi included in case you don't have an Ethernet cable to connect it directly to, which is always a plus. And then you get 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, very fast speeds. So this system will be perfect for content creation, productivity work and streaming as well, in case you want to do all of that plus gaming. Now, the pricing for this system by the time of filming is $1,399. Maybe when you're watching this, the price is higher or it might be lower. So again, I do recommend you checking the latest prices and availability from the links down in the video description. And if you want to go cheaper, I would recommend you switching the RTX 5070 Ti to the AMD RX 9070 XT. This graphics card is going to be slightly cheaper and it's going to be very similar when it comes to pure gaming performance. Now, since it's not from NVIDIA, yes, it's not going to be as good as the 5070 Ti when it comes to ray tracing performance, and you don't get DLSS, which is the upscaler from NVIDIA, and it works better than the upscaler from AMD. So you are losing on some NVIDIA features, but the gaming performance, as I just said, it's very similar, so you will be achieving 80 plus FPS on average at 4K high to ultra settings and over 120 plus FPS at 1440p. So you can still max out 1440p and play at 4K ultra settings with no issues and smooth frame rates. And the total price for the entire system, if you go AMD, it's going to be around $1,340. Now, I would recommend you buying this system if you must go cheaper, because if you have around $1,400 to spend, I wouldn't recommend you switching to AMD just because the 5070 Ti is very similar in terms of pricing compared to the 9070 XT. However, a couple months ago, the 9070 XT was up to $150 cheaper. In that case, it's a no-brainer and it's a much better price to performance option. However, since as of right now, they are very similar in price, if they are around $50 or less, of difference, then I would highly recommend you going with the 5070 Ti. But again, if you must go cheaper because you can't go up to 1400 USD, go ahead and get the AMD graphics card. Remember that you will find the links to those two GPUs down in the video description. Now, as another alternative, if you have more money to spend instead, then I do recommend you upgrading your CPU from the Ryzen 5 7600X to the Ryzen 7 7700X. This CPU upgrade will give you more cores, so you will be getting an 8-core CPU instead of a 6-core one. In terms of gaming performance, they are both very similar, but considering that you get more cores, it's going to be a better CPU overall, especially for content creation and productivity work. So if you need the extra cores as a creator, or you're doing something that requires more cores from your CPU, this upgrade will make a ton of sense. Now with this upgrade, I also upgraded the CPU cooler to a bigger one. That way you get better cooling for the Ryzen 7 processor. And the total price, if you make these upgrades, will be just under 1500 USD, and you will find the upgrades as well down in the video description. Now, if you have a completely different budget, let's say you have $3,000 to spend, or maybe on the other hand, you have under 1,000, that's completely understandable. I made an entire video talking about the best PC builds of the month for every budget and every resolution, 1080p, 1440p, and 4K. So if you want to build a PC for a different budget, I highly recommend you watching that one. You will find it in the top right corner of the screen. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.